Yeah, you know what it is. Hot 97, Funk Flex. I always address this, man. I don't say this about many people. One of my favorite artists to come by, Lupe Fiasco's in the building because you so keep it 100.
Oh, man, to my detriment.
Yo, at all times, like whether it's an interview online, getting at a blogger, whatever it might be, like you keep it 100. How are you, man?
I'm good. How you?
Everything good?
Yeah, can't complain.
So,
repping the Black Hawks. Appreciate that.
You saw me?
Indeed.
You saw me? So it's Hot 97, Funk Flex, Lupe Fiasco's here. So, I didn't get a chance to talk to you when the whole situation was going on with you with your song with Pete Rock. I can remember the way I remember it unfolding is I remember it going online that day, and I remember just a lot of people liking the song. I mean, the record was up my alley, and I guess it triggered something with Pete where I could tell like when he was tweeting because what was shocking is he doesn't tweet a lot. And he doesn't and he's not much about like the music, yeah, but not much about him, CL and right, of course and Troy. So were you shocked by or were you surprised by his tweets? And I know I'm recapping a little bit, but
no, it's good.
This is me and you.
We to keep it 100, when we purposely didn't do radio in New York that day.
Okay.
Because it was I was in Chicago and I was supposed to come to New York that next day and do radio. And then when we seen, Pete Rock's tirade and everything he went into it, and then of course all of how that propagates and gets into the ether, and
the blogs was on it,
and it was just like, oh my God, what is he doing? We need to figure this out, So we got all of the parties that was a part of making sure of reaching out initially, the lawyers, this person, that, the label, this dude, make sure everybody was on the phone to kind of get an idea like, yo, what's the issue? What's wrong? And it was just kind of like, I was hot. My man was hot. And it was the conversation wasn't like yo, let's reconciliate and be cool and I love you and nah. It was like,
now this is when you and him spoke?
Yeah.
On the phone.
This is when me and him spoke on the phone. That was either that next day or I think it was that next day. And it was just kind of like, yo, man, you got me out here looking crazy.
Was that the first time you and him ever spoke just in general?
Nah.
Oh,
I've met with Pete at the label before.
So you know him from prior conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this was the first time that me and him talked specifically about that record.
Gotcha.
Me and him, right? But
so he didn't know you recorded that song, that it existed?
Knew.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
But he didn't hear the lyrics? He heard the song?
No, he didn't hear it. He didn't hear the song.
He just knew you were doing it?
He knew I was doing it. His initial thing was that he had an emotional attachment to the record. This was like November.
Gotcha.
He had an emotional attachment to the record, but Lupe's my man. If Lupe want to rock with it, then cool. And here's the sample information because you're gonna need to clear with Warner Chapel and you're gonna need to do this. So it was like, all right, cool. Lupe has my blessing.
Gotcha.
And then it just kind of went.
What changed it, you think?
I think what blew his fuse was that the record had just came out.
I'm gonna go with that expression, blowing your fuse. yeah, because that so says it about.
He blacked out
when you get into something with the way. Lupe is bananas. Okay, so you feel that. I'm sorry, because I was
no,
I was going
it's
on
all
the
good.
phrase.
It's
now,
all
what
good.
did you feel? Was it that put him in a bad place?
That the record had just came out, like it was just out, and he hadn't heard it.
Got you.
Not that he hadn't been
informed,
credited for it. The publishing was taken care of on whatever he was supposed to do, everything. Because again, it's like you just throwing a record out there,
So you think he wanted some creative input on how the song came out?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because initially he didn't want to do nothing with it.
Gotcha.
He didn't want to be a part of it because it was just kind of like it's too much for me to revisit X, Y, Z. But Lupe got my blessing to do what he wanted to do. Right?
Okay.
So
because he did make reference to, I believe in his tweet that he wasn't 100% satisfied with the production. He didn't really make a reference to the subject matter of the song, but
Right.
it seemed like he was more on the production.
But I don't know. It's kind of vague. But even with the production, it came out was like, you know, I wanted to just rap over the instrumental. Like if you have the sample, or if we can just find, and this is what 92, you know, if you can just find that that session. But I know ain't no Pro Tools back then.
Gotcha.
The reels or whatever. I just want to rap over exactly what Pete did. Not put another producer to redo it. Let's just do exactly what Pete did. Come to find out that you can't clear the sample.
Got you.
That to use his version, to use his master, you can't, because it's portions of that song that have never been cleared.
Okay.
So the publishing company is saying we're not going to clear that.
Got you.
So you have to redo it. You have to replay it. So we put the producers on it to remake it to exactly the way he made it, as best as we could. You know?
Now, you know, I want to say, like, into Pete Rock's defense, because you know, I might have just been getting in the music business when that had happened, and it was one of the first tragedies, like in the 90s, and you know, as I remember too, it was them having fun on tour, and him Troy getting hurt, and of course passing away. So, and I remember for some reason at that time in New York, I'm from the Bronx, you know, Mount Vernon's next door, and it really, for some reason, rung through the music business in a way that I hadn't really felt before. And I'm not sure it coupled with maybe Heavy, because Heavy had passed too, correct? I mean, I don't know if coupled with that, because I haven't spoken to Pete about it, but I don't know if coupled with that kind of put him in a space, because he wasn't, I didn't feel like Pete was very vocal about the Heavy thing either. He kind of commented a little bit.
But that all came up in the conversation. Why he didn't feel comfortable approaching it, because Heavy had just passed. And he was, you know, it was kind of a weird thing, and you know, but to when people say, or like you kind of alluded to, it was a record that is the icon and you're not supposed to do anything with it, but it's been remade like 4 or 5 times. You know?
I don't know if I'm on the page of the record not being remade, because the records of that magnitude usually get touched.
Right.
So I see where it came up. You know, look, I will give you my opinion. It's you made the song, and I didn't feel like you were trying to maybe capitalize off a situation. I think you had your own space where you want to be on the record, and where you want to be, and what it was about, and that was that. And it was, yes, you think of Pete because he's maybe the one who would use that song, but it definitely feels like you were taking it in your own direction. And so I think maybe for both parts, because me outside looking in, when I saw both how you felt and how he felt, I understood the disconnect, because I was like, I know where Pete's at. He's in his mind, he's at 92 and 93. He's in those 90s. And I know for you being from Chicago, it's a different feeling, like that whole atmosphere for you. And you know, you weren't, and it's not like you were roaming through the city and you kind of felt what it was. So I kind of was like, I see where there would have been an issue maybe between the two of you. But were you able to? Now,
honestly, and on that point, honestly, I didn't intentionally. I didn't want to remake Troy. I didn't want to mention. I didn't want to do that because of that. Because I know what the Troy song is about. You know, I know who Troy is through CL Smooth rapping about it on the song, and the way Pete expressed it initially, with, you know, it's dear to him, you know, the track and what it means. So I didn't want to remake Troy because, you know, Troy's not my man. You know, that's your homie, and I respect him. So I'm not going to try and say I'm a reminisce over you, because it literally saying they reminisce over you is this man's name, right? So I'll leave him to you, and that's how you grieve with it. And I'm not going to try and reapproach it or reinterpret it or try and leech off that pain. But
how come the internet for 1 minute was saying it was cleared up, and then it said it's not cleared up? That was
because on the way it was being pushed and the way it was being perceived, that's not how it went down. Pete know we reached out to him. He just said, man, I just wish Lupe would have called me direct, right? It's like, okay, I give you that. This is the first time we talked about it, but what is the rest of this? Where's all the rest of this coming from? Because you act like you hadn't talked to 6 people, or we hadn't reached out to your people to get you in the video. And it's like,
and if you would have felt there was an issue, you probably wouldn't have pushed forward like you did push forward.
Right.
Maybe if you felt you knew more information. About
I wouldn't. It wasn't do or die or die to run with it. You know, it was just kind of the innocent idea came from my partner Chili. He's like, yo, man, we need to put out let's put a spin on a classic hip hop record and bring it to the new generation. Let's do that and just pay homage, shed light for a new generation of kids, so they can see that, oh, this was hip hop back here, but it's still relevant, still ill now.
Did you feel like some of the internet and some of the bloggers were giving you a hard time because of your past relationship sometime with them?
With who? With the old dudes?
No, wait, no, just the internet in general, just bloggers in general.
I think it's that shoot from the hip culture, because I crept upon like a blog, and it was more like a conversation. It was a bunch of people in the studio somewhere, and they do debates, and they debated Lupe Fiasco versus Pete Rock, and everybody had their point of view, and it was just kind of like everybody was shooting from the hip. It's like, but you don't know all the information. You don't know that everybody talked to Pete Rock. You don't know why I went on Sway and actually said what I said. It wasn't because of, a way about the record. It was like, Pete, you got me looking crazy. You see these blogs are going crazy, and then you just going to duck out when you knew. And he said it on the phone. Like, that was whack. It was a crazy thing for me to do. I know I kind of OD'd. It's like, look, just come out and just say, hey, we talked, X, Y, Z. Prior to that, and it was just me feeling little ways, and he could have said that I'm feeling emotional about Heavy, and when it dropped, and they hadn't called me and let me listen, but he didn't do that.
And did he ever?
Didn't do that. And he said on the phone, "Man, but if I do that, if I recant, I'm gonna look crazy." Quote. It's like, well, so what? We just supposed to leave it like this? Nah, I'm not doing that, Pete. I rock with you, but I can't respect this because that's not what happened, And then the blogs ran with it and did what they do. But
now you used to. Well, you know what? It's Hot 97 Funk Flex. I mean, let's play the song now. We got a couple of other things to talk about.
Let's play both.
Yeah, everything.
That was the point for you to be in mix show, or for you to be in a mix. Drop that one. And then, hey, you know where that came from? Right here.
Let's do it right now. You know what it is? Lupe Fiasco in the building. Let's go.
Attention. If you're an artist looking for hot beats for your next project, hit up heatkings.net. We got bangers for the low at heatkings.net.